Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another video. And it's 11:30 p.m. here in Sydney, and it's been a really long, tiring day for me. I thought that when I get on with writing my latest blog post in the evening, I would be done in a matter of 15 to 20 minutes. But it took me a lot longer than that, close to an hour 15 minutes, and um, here we are. I'm making this video. so yeah, in this video I'll talk about my latest GitHub repository, which is called Node React GitHub auth. I'll tell you a little bit about what that repository is, and obviously share a link to that repository in the description of this video. But before that, yeah, so what's it like in Sydney? Well, it is starting to get cold here in Sydney, Australia, and it's not freezing just yet because we're not in peak winter, because we're still in April. Peak winter for us, it would be about end of June, July, when it gets really cold, less than 5 degrees. And the reason why we feel it cold here, while it may not be as cold as it would be in some European countries or northern part of China or northern part of India, is because over here we do not have houses that are well insulated. Our houses, the apartments, the properties that we live in over here in Sydney, Australia, they're simply not built for that winter. So that we don't really have these things like central heating. So we feel colder. Okay, now that I've justified that, now, all right, so let me talk a little bit about my repository. It's been a productive Sunday for me, and Node React GitHub OAuth is something that I've been trying to do for a very long time. So what I was interested in was learning the end-to-end flow of a front-end and a back-end app that uses social login. So in the past, I've built apps, be it web-based front-end or a mobile app such as iOS, that uses social login. So now social login could be, in case of iOS, it would be achieved via a pod, or in case of a React app, it would be achieved via a package like a node library or a package that you just installed, and you'll be able to log in to the app from your client side code without actually knowing about how the backend works. So the libraries provided would be sufficient enough that you won't really have to deal with the backend per se. So in this repository, I actually showcase the end-to-end flow. So when you clone this repository, the Node React GitHub OAuth, you'll see a link to this in the description of this video. What will happen is you'll have two folders in there. Now the folders are called, give me a second, user session client and then user session. Now user session is the Node.js app, the Node.js backend, and the user session client is the front end. So what you need to do is, after you've cloned this repository, you need to cd, well, I use the command line, so you need to sort of go navigate into the folder, each specific folder, user session or user session client, and then do an npm install, or in case of the React app, maybe a yarn install. And once you've done that, then you have two separate apps. So this is like, you've got a front-end app, a React app running in one terminal window, as well as and then a Node.js app running in another window, another terminal window. So the front end will communicate with the back end. Okay, so I think I'm stepping ahead a little bit, but just so you know, for you to be able to successfully work with this repository, you need to go into your GitHub dashboard and register a new app. I've put the instructions on how to do that in the description of this, in the README of this repository, as well as I've just written a blog post that talks about how to do everything. So please have a read of the blog post and this repository and the README of this repository, for which you'll see the link in the description of this video. Okay, so say you've um, registered a new app on the GitHub dashboard, and then you've got a GitHub client ID as well as a GitHub client secret. Once you've obtained those things, then what you need to do is you in your Node.js in the Node backend repository, you need to create an env file. It uses .env to for environment variables. Um, you create the .env file and then add those two variables, and then you do the same thing with your React front end as well, except in the React front end, obviously when you specify an environment variable, it needs to start with um, React underscore app underscore whatever your variable name is, because that's how Git React environment variables work. Um, okay, so for Node.js, for the Node backend, you need both the client ID and the client secret. For the um, React front end, you only need the client ID because that's what you are passing. So, okay, so the way this works is the way it all works is what it does is it would to log in from the front end, it would actually call a GitHub URL. It would call the front end would call a GitHub OAuth URL to which it will pass the redirect URI. Now the redirect URI is something that you would have specified when you're registering the GitHub, when you're registering the app on GitHub dashboard. Anyway, so the client side code calls the GitHub URL and then it passes the redirect URI, and the redirect URI is your Node.js backend. Now, so once you authenticate the app, once you give it permissions on the GitHub server, once you authorize the app on GitHub to allow, once you log into GitHub and authorize this app to have access to your information, it will redirect to the Node.js backend. And once the Node.js backend receives that, it will actually send another redirect response to the client, and then the client will call the backend to get the information from the backend. Like it will call the backend passing the access token, so the backend can retrieve the user details such as username, social links, and so on, and the description and everything, all the information that you've specified in your GitHub reports, GitHub on your GitHub account on the GitHub dashboard. Right, so that's how it would. I finally know how to achieve this. This has been a rewarding experience for me. I hope you can find something to learn from this as well, and that's why I've created this GitHub repository as well as written a blog post on it. So should you have any questions, please let me know. Like leave a comment on this video, or you can create an issue on GitHub on the repository, and that would be great. Hope it helps you, and should you have any questions, as I said, let me know. And if you like the work that I'm doing, please give my repository a star. And the repository that I'm really focusing on right now is the Node TypeScript CRUD node. So give it a star, or if you like, you can buy me a coffee. I'll share a link to buy me a coffee, how you can buy me a coffee, and also check out my blog. And yeah, until next time, I wish you well, happy coding, and live long and prosper.